everyone, it's John from What Up, and welcome back to another video. And the first question you're probably asking yourself is, do my eyes deceive me? Is this video really an hour long for a 3-second clip? Yeah, it is. And you're going to enjoy every minute of it, I'm sure. We're going to talk about all kinds of different things today. But before we get into any of that, I do want to let you know, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell. I put out Wheel of Time and Prime-centric content a couple of times a week. It's all news, leaks, speculation, set photos, castings, all kinds of stuff. I have a number of contacts that usually feed me little tidbits of information here and there, and they make it into my videos sometimes. So I do sometimes have stuff that no one else has, which is really very neat, and it's the highlight of my year, really, if you look at it that way. So, again, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please click that subscribe button. So, yeah, this is a long video. We're going to get into the why here in a second, why it's such a long video. But before we do, I want to let you know that because it is such a long video, I've taken and I've broken it up into different sections. So there are time tags down below in the description box. So if you've already watched a portion of the video, or you just want to skip ahead to certain portions, you can do so. And at the beginning of every one of those time tags, I will either throw up the spoiler banner and say spoiler warning and tell you what spoilers are and whatnot, or I will say there are no spoilers for this section. So if you haven't already read the series, don't worry, we're not going to spoil anything for you unless I actually tell you. So if you click a section, you see the spoiler banner come up, it's because there's spoilers in that section, and I'll tell you how far they go. All right, so what sections do we have here? Well, you can read them down below. You can click through them. You can go through them. But essentially, we're going to break this down this way. I'm going to talk a little bit about why this video is an hour long, how that came to be, and then we're going to talk about how Wheel of Time on Prime released their content this week and what that could possibly mean for something happening in the future, which is really very neat. Then we're going to show you the teaser, and then I'm going to talk about the teaser for a bit, and then we're going to go through some stills of the teaser, and we're going to pick it apart because there's some things in there I want to talk about specifically. And then when that is all done, all said and done, Rafe has a Q and A. So Rafe did a Q and A about the teaser, and some fans asked some questions, some of the cast asked some questions. So we're going to go through all of that. And then when that's done, we're going to talk just a bit about the actress herself, Rosamund Pike, and the character she's playing, Moiraine, and what they are. So if you haven't already watched the show, that is going to be a little spoilery, so be careful there. I'll talk about that when I get there. But we're also going to talk about how she's being changed for the show, because she's changed a fair bit for the show, in my opinion, and we're going to talk a bit about that too. And when that's all said and done, we'll talk about a few more things at the end, just some housekeeping and stuff, and then we'll end the video. And that should take us to the hour mark, but I don't know for sure. So here's hoping. I've had like 4 double espressos, so maybe we can get through this. All right, so we're going to talk about why this video is an hour first. So this is the first time tag, and there are no spoilers for this section whatsoever. Essentially, what had happened was after the release of all this, one of the members of Twitter at the time actually tweeted out that they were very excited about the reveal. They were super happy about what happened. I'm paraphrasing here; these are not exact quotes. That Wheel of Time Prime released something, but they are looking forward to the 20-minute review videos that all the content creators are going to do the next day on 3 seconds of content. It was kind of like a little, like, ha-ha, little dig at us, so to speak, because we do. I mean, they'll release a 2-minute video, and I'll talk about it for 25 minutes. I have no problem with that at all. And then Wheel of Time and Prime wrote back to them, which was really neat, and said, well, with this, it should be an hour. And then, as you all know, Gowan is one of my favorite characters. I carry a lot of personality traits of him, unfortunately, from my youth. And I put my foot in my mouth and I pulled a Gowan, and I said, an hour? Yeah, I can do that, no problem. You better watch every frame, though. And I believe I said I'd do it in 1 take as well. So that's me being, I could do this. Yeah, no, it's not going to be 1 take. I'm letting you know right now, this is going to be all cut up at the end of it, and I tried it. This is like take 39.5 or something like that. It's just not going to happen. But I put my foot in my mouth, so we're going to do an hour-long video, but we do have a lot to cover, and there's a lot to talk about, and I did do the time tags, so you can watch this over the course of days if you want to. It doesn't really matter. All right, so first things first, we've talked about how this is an hour. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the reveal and the release, how they did this. So what has normally been happening, Wheel of Time on Prime has been releasing content every month. Now in this section there are, again, no spoilers whatsoever. No spoilers for this section. If you haven't read the book series, don't worry about it. We're not going to spoil anything for you. All right, so over the last few months, Wheel of Time on Prime has revealed a bunch of different things. Little teasers, little tidbits, some castings, things like that. But it all started with Tam's sword. They revealed Tam's sword, and then they revealed Tom's guitar. And then people started thinking, wow, that's something old. That's something new. And then Matt's dagger. That's something borrowed. What's next in the rhyme? Something blue. It's got to be Moiraine. And so a couple of weeks ago, I theorized in a video that we will see at least a color picture of Moiraine in costume for our something blue for the next part of the rhyme. And truth be told, I really did expect it a couple of weeks ago. Like, I expected it near the first of the month, not the middle of the month like we're getting it now. Wheel of Time on Wednesday used to be the first Wednesday of every month. Rafe would release some things, but when Amazon took over the marketing and did some things like that, it kind of went away for a bit, and it's back now. But it's not always the first Wednesday of every month, but it is a Wednesday. Usually around 1 Eastern, they'll reveal something once a month, which is very neat. Now, I told you we're going to talk about the how and the why. This has changed. So they changed their format, they changed the way they release this, and that is big. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So first things first, Rosamund Pike released this image on her Instagram. I have something to show you in a couple of hours. So everyone in the fandom just kind of blew right up and was like, oh my god, we're going to see Moiraine. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so awesome. And Wheel of Time on Prime put this up on Twitter. Something blue, it seems. And he responded to Daniel Green because Daniel Green was like, whoa, what's up? What's up, Wheel of Time on Prime? What are you going to show us today? And so that's how they responded, which was neat. So it kind of validated our rhyme theory. It validated what all of us content creators and all the people in the community have been saying for the last couple of weeks, that it's going to be something blue. It's got to be Moiraine. And if Rosamund Pike's saying something, she plays the Moiraine character, it's got to be that way. So we were all very excited for it. Now, that was followed up by this. Now, this is the teaser. We're going to show it here in a few minutes in another section of the video, then we'll talk about it. But this is the first time that Amazon Prime Video, the actual official account for Amazon Prime Video, has revealed and released one of the Wheel of Time teasers. So far up to this point, it's been Wheel of Time on Prime, which is an account created to market Wheel of Time to the fandom. So it's created to interact with us on Twitter time. It's created to put little tidbits of information for the fandom. And for no other reason than the fandom. Because, I mean, realistically, most of the world right now that is not already a fan of Robert Jordan's works have no idea that the Wheel of Time is even being made. There's been a few articles here and there from Deadline and a couple of other places. There's YouTubers like myself who talk about it, but these things are really niche and the community looks for them. They get them, they read them, they pore over them, and it's very cool for us. But the general public, and I use my wife as an example a fair bit, she's not a huge fantasy fan, they don't really know much about this. And if I didn't have my channel and talk about this incessantly to her, and I do, and I'm sorry, honey, I really do, she would have no idea the show is being made. It would just not cross her mind at all until maybe they started actually ratcheting up the marketing campaign. But Amazon Prime's official account released this, which means that it's not just the people following Twitter of Time or Wheel of Time on Prime or the Wheel of Time tag on Twitter or things like that. This is people that follow Amazon Prime are going to see this. They are a much bigger way of marketing this, which is really, really very neat. I'm very impressed by that. So yeah, so there's that. Now, this goes back to something I said in a few videos ago. Now, I had mentioned, I had an exclusive, and this was about the trailer. So, to paraphrase the video, I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty of it, but I have a document in my possession that basically says that they're doing some audio work in the trailer on the 22nd of April. And it's dubbing work. And this dubbing work is usually done weeks prior to the trailer release, not months. So, that puts us late May, early June is my guess for a trailer. And that would mean that about now, we're looking at actual marketing coming out. Because so far up to this point, it's been Wheel of Time and Prime talking about the marketing. And that's not really marketing. Because they're talking to fans. We're all going to watch the show one way or another anyway. They're not really gaining many new subscribers or followers or interest in the show. They're not really drumming up much interest in the show by interacting with us. And we have to be very, very honest about that. Although we will all watch the show, we're going to watch it anyway. Whether we like it or hate it or any other reason, we're going to watch it because it's Wheel of Time content. We're fans. This is targeted towards people who are not fans. So this is the, as far as I'm concerned, the official kickoff of Amazon's marketing campaign for the Wheel of Time, and it's a pretty cool thing to kick off. All right, so now we're going to get into that teaser here. So I'm going to show you the teaser now. In this particular section, there are spoilers. So spoiler warning, in this section, we're going to talk about the teaser that Wheel of Time and Prime released last Wednesday. I'm going to show it to you, and then we're going to discuss it. So I will be talking about character arcs and plot points from the Eye of the World. So if you haven't read the book, The Eye of the World, the first book of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, be forewarned, I will ruin parts of that book for you. All right, let's watch that teaser.
Do not underestimate the women in this tower.
All right, so that's the teaser. Yes, short, very short, but you can pack a whole lot of stuff in a very short period of time. I keep telling my wife, so it's got to be true. Basically, what are we seeing here? So we're seeing Moiraine. She's has her eyes closed. She's coming out going to white, and when I watched it probably a dozen times, and then Rosamund Pike put this up. So she put up, Wheel of Time fans and future Wheel of Time fans, I am giving you our first exclusive glimpse of Moiraine, Women of Mystery, Power, Calm, and Strength. Everyone in the Wheel of Time family is excited to show you the full series when it comes to Amazon Prime Video. We love these characters, and it is an honor to have the chance to embody them. Moiraine Sedai is an enigma and a force of nature never to be underestimated. See a flash of her here as she embraces the source of the One Power. So what we're seeing, and this is what we're going to see, is her embracing the true source, the One Power. So there's a lot we can unpack from this video. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things. Now, the first thing is this is eerily similar to Goku going Super Saiyan. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's only 3 seconds. I mean, we make whatever we want, but that's the first thing it reminded me of. So we're going to talk a bit about this. So Rafe did a Q&A about this particular video, and this answers some of the questions that I had, but I had already kind of picked up on when I watched it, and we'll go through them again when we do the Q&A. So there's that. So just I'm probably going to double speak a few things here, just so you know. So we're going to go through a few stills here. Now, this still shows Rosamund's face. Now, Rosamund has minimal makeup on, and that's essentially what it is. She's minimal makeup. She's not done up really fancy or anything like that. She has minimal makeup on, and she is missing. One thing in this picture that a lot of the fans picked up on immediately is like, where's her Kisera? Now, I probably pronounced it wrong. I pronounce a lot of things wrong. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am the king of mispronouncing things. But that is a fine gold chain around her forehead that houses a blue stone that chooses a focus for certain tricks she does with the One Power. And it's a traditional thing from her homeland. So she's missing that in this video. Now, it's kind of strange that they would show their first official glimpse of Moiraine without something so iconic as a part of her character. Almost every image we've ever seen of her, whether it be fan art or for the CCG or for any number of different things like book covers, all kinds of stuff, she's wearing that little blue stone. And they talk about it multiple times in the book. So it was kind of strange that they didn't show it here, but I think I know why, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But a lot of the fans picked up on it immediately, and they're quite upset. And one of the questions Rafe was actually asked is, does she have that? And he assured everyone, yes, she has that. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But why wouldn't she have this on? So this clip, to me, seems like a part of a much larger clip. Now, I'm going to guess this is probably a part of the trailer because that's pretty much the only promotional material that I believe they're working on right now is the trailer. So they probably just spliced a little tidbit out of the trailer and put it here. Now, this is showing her embracing the true source, embracing the One Power. Where would she do that in the Eye of the World where maybe she wouldn't be wearing that? Well, she wouldn't be wearing that where she's going somewhere where she doesn't want to be recognized as maybe nobility, recognized as from her homeland, and that quite possibly could be the Two Rivers. Now, if you go over and watch The Dusty Wheel, and I've linked Matt Hatch, The Dusty Wheel, down below in the description box, they did a really good, really long video with Daniel Green live when this came out, and they talked about a bunch of different things. But basically, one of the things that they did is they upped the contrast a whole lot. You see those little orange dots on the left-hand side there, and they kind of hovered that over the shots of Ammon's Field when they come out with them at the Beltane festivities, and they sort of kind of matched up the lanterns. So my guess is she's probably somewhere she doesn't want to be seen with this thing on. She's probably in the Two Rivers. She's probably embracing the true source for the first time in the Two Rivers, probably right in the Village Green. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily match up with what we're seeing in the books, but we're going to talk about that in a bit later when we talk about Moiraine, and I'm actually going to put out a video later on, probably early next week, I would say, about some of the changes I expect to see in the books versus the show that I believe are necessary. Now, before you get all up in arms, some people don't think any changes are necessary, but they are, and they're going to happen. So make peace with it now. So she's missing the blue stones. First thing I noticed. Second thing I noticed is we take a look at her here. Again, like I said, very minimal makeup, but no ageless face. So we're not seeing an ageless face. We're seeing Rosamund Pike here. This is Rosamund Pike. She doesn't look how I would be considered someone ageless. Where you look at them, you can't really determine whether they're young or they're old or a little bit of everything all in between. And that was another question that Rafe was asked. Now, I've said this for a long, long time, that they're probably going to nix this. And this is going to be one of the changes because the sheer volume of money they would have to spend on doing mocap on every female channeler in the series' face would be just staggering to make it seem ageless, make them all seem... You know, remember that really bad CGI baby from Twilight? Or when they de-aged Patrick Stewart and Ian McClellan for the X-Men movies? Yeah, they didn't look real good. But it would be something similar to that they would have to do on every single channeler in the show, and that would be a staggering amount of money. It's just much easier to go, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we won't even mention that. Because it saves them a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort for something that is really, realistically, only a nod to the fans. Some of you are going to say in the comments down below, I'm sure, that it's a very important part of the story, that the story will fall apart without it, there's so many plot points. They can get around all that, as far as I'm concerned. But do comment down below and let me know if you agree or disagree with me that they shouldn't keep this in. I mean, we're going to talk about it when Rafe talks about it, and I'll talk about it a bit later again, but I believe it's probably not there. Now, she's embracing the true source here. And you'll notice, and I'm going to go back here for a second, she's got her eyes closed. And it's dark. Dark around her with her eyes closed. Now, we do know from the book series that you cannot channel with your eyes closed. You can't. If you can't see what you're doing, you're not going to be able to affect anything with it with one power. But you can embrace the true source with your eyes closed. Not a really great practice, and in fact, I think most Aes Sedai don't do that. However, very dramatic effect to put on a film. So these are some of the small changes that I'm expecting that would, conflict with what it says in the books, but make it really dramatic looking on screen. So she's got her eyes closed, and then she Super Saiyan level 2, and her eyes come open, right? A lot of light. Now, another thing I've asked a question about is just how are we going to see women embrace the true source of the one power? Because from another woman's point of view, they glow. The more powerful they are, the more intense the glow. Right? So this is probably showing that in a way that the viewers can understand. So this, I don't think it's going to be from another female's perspective. It may be from Egwene's perspective or Nynaeve's. It's possible, but I think they're just going to show it this way for dramatic effect a couple of times, and then we won't see it again later on when channeling becomes more commonplace. Because realistically, in the eye of the world, channeling is a very, very rare thing. It doesn't happen that much, and when it does happen, it's, big, huge deal. Gandalf going after the Balrog deal, big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big deal. And then in later books, everybody does it. They pick up water with it. They, heat their water to shave, fluff their pillows. I mean, they use it for everything, moving stones. And it's not going to be as dramatic then, I don't imagine. But initially, they're probably going to show it dramatically like this. And then we see, as it goes brighter and brighter and brighter, and then, the brightness it fades out afterwards. Now, one of the things I want to mention is the line she says. The line she says in this teaser specifically does not match up with the teaser because it's a voiceover. And one of the Rafes Q and A's, he answers why that's a voiceover later on. So this is not part of this particular scene. So we know we're not going to hear that line in the show, and we know we're not going to hear that line in the trailer, mainly because it was recorded specifically for this teaser. And Rafe said that in his Q and A. And when we talk about the Q and A later, we'll touch on that, and we'll make sure we talk about that just a bit. So we have, here are changes. We have the gold chain with the blue jewel, non-existent for whatever reason. And maybe the reasons I theorize, she's kind of hiding her identity or hiding who she is, because the ageless face does not give her away anymore as an Aes Sedai. So it would be the Great Serpent Ring and maybe jewelry and finery. And then we have the fact that she does not have an ageless face because, I mean, let's face it, the budget would be astronomical just to make people look like that crazy, weird baby in Twilight, which nobody wants that. And then we have the fact that they're showing how she embraces true source, but she's starting with her eyes closed, which is not necessarily a thing that people do in the books, mainly because it's not done that way. But very dramatic, looks very good on screen, very, very cool. So we have all that. Now, we're going to go back here and we're going to read this again. And essentially, she's saying that she's embracing the source one power, but she's not channeling. So that's what she said there. So this is specifically showing channeling. We haven't seen any indication of channeling yet. But as we go through this video and we look back at these stills again, you see those orange dots up in the left and the right there? They do become more pronounced as the contrast goes up. So I believe they are probably lanterns from Beltane. They're probably the ones in the village green, and this is probably where we're seeing her embrace true source for the first time in a very dramatic way. Now, what this way is, what this is for, I'm not entirely sure. We do know she does tell the story in the books where she spins her staff and stuff. This seems a little too dramatic for that. I'm going to guess this just might be when the Trollocs attack, and she's embracing the true source for the first time, and she is going after them. And this is the first indication of power seen in the show. My guess is we're going to actually see her in land fight things, and you're going to see something really crazy and really cool, because it is the first episode. You want to hook new viewers. You want to have a massive battle scene, something very, very cool, probably very involved. A lot of extras, a lot of CG, probably a lot of different stuff, very dramatic. That way people will come back for the second episode. And I believe this is probably where she is embracing the true source for the first time on screen in the show during the Battle of Winter Night. That's my guess. And it's just a guess, but I think that's what's happening here. All right. With all that being said, the only other thing I want to mention are her earrings. They are pretty neat looking, but they are not necessarily canon in the books either. They don't exactly look like what she would wear in her ears in the books. But again, these are small changes that they're going to put in there. She doesn't have her stone in, but she is wearing earrings. So we're going to talk about that. Now, I know there was kind of a tease, kind of a poking fun at us, where it showed an image of pointing big arrows at the earrings, huge changes and whatnot. And this went all over Twitter and Facebook earlier today, actually. I don't think it's a big change. It's just one of those things. I really do think the major takeaways from this teaser are the fact that she is embracing the true source, and she's doing it in a different way than the books, in a much more dramatic fashion, of course, and that she is not having an ageless face, and that we are seeing the glow. And the glow is very, very neat. But I don't think we're going to continue to see that throughout the series. I think it'll be the first few times she embraces the power and does something very intense, and it's going to show a close-up and show like this, probably from her own or the potential point of view of another female channeler, but not from anyone else's point of view. And then later on, she'll just do things with it, like everyone else in the series. It's my guess. It's my guess. All right, so the next section, we're going to get into Rafes Q and A, and in this particular section, there are spoilers. So, spoiler warning, we are talking about Rafes Q and A about this particular teaser. We're going to talk about events that happen in the Eye of the World and in the Wheel of Time books in general. So if you haven't read at least the very first book of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time, be forewarned, we may ruin some character arcs, plot points, other little tidbits for you. All right, let's get into that Q and A. All right, so we talked about this just a smidge moments ago, actually, about the jewel, how it's missing, and the blue jewel and the gold chain around her forehead, the very iconic, very, very iconic part of her character. And Rafe Judkins answered, I can confirm here officially that the Kisara will appear in the show. I can also confirm I correctly spelled Kisara on my first try, but I did Google it to double check. And for you folks watching, I can also correctly confirm that I'm probably mispronouncing it terribly. Again, feel free to correct me in the comments or anything I mispronounce, because I mispronounce a lot of stuff. It's kind of a game, actually. It's pretty fun. All right. Actually, make a drinking game out of it if you want. Every time I mispronounce something, take a shot. You won't make it through the video. I guarantee you. There's not a person live that could. So next question was by the Kella guy. I know what I'm excited about, but what is our great lord Rafe most excited about? Now, this was, he's basically calling him a dark friend here. And Rafe said that. He's like, I'm not sure if you're low-key calling me out as a dark friend. But either way, I think the moment Moiraine first walks into the Winespring Inn was the moment that really made me feel the true fan part of me make unintelligible sounds. So, yeah, this is the showrunner. So, something you have to understand about this show. It is an adaptation. There are going to be changes. There's going to be stuff that's going to be different from the books. But it's being made by fans. Rafe is a fan. He really is very passionate about the books. He's very passionate about the story and the characters, and he wants this to be as good as it possibly can be. Now, there are other people involved other than Rafe, of course. You have other cast, other crew. You have executives from Amazon, executives from Sony. You have all kinds of other people with their kind of their hand in the pot. But he is the showrunner, and he has the most clout when it comes to creative changes and whatnot. So anyone who is fearing that the show will not be good really shouldn't have anything to fear, because Rafe is a fan and he wants this to be good. And he's talking about here when Moiraine first walks in the wine spring, and guarantee you I'm going to be a blubbering mess on the couch when I watch this for the first time, because it's going to be very emotional for me to see this stuff on the screen, and every first will be a big deal. First time we see Moiraine, first time we see Rand, first time we see Matt, first time we see Perrin, the Badger. Everything we see that I'm going to remember from the books as I watch the show, I'm going to be a big mess, just crying. And Rafe is saying basically the same thing, which is very, very, that's pretty positive. For anybody who's doubting that this is not in good hands, he's a fan. So just so you're aware. Next question. What direction Rosamund given about the facial expressions and body movements that she would use when channeling? Is this something that is universal through channelers, or are body movements more organic for each channeler? Now, this is a pretty good question, because in the book series, they don't talk a whole lot about facial expressions when people are channeling. Not a whole lot, but they do talk about some of the movements. So when they toss a fireball, when they move, when they're doing certain things with weaves, it is said in the books that you can tell who trained in Aes Sedai, which Aes Sedai trained in Aes Sedai, by the way they move when they make certain weaves. So it is mentioned in the books, and it's talked about just a little bit. So it is a thing. This is 100% a thing, and it's not something I would have in a million years thought to ask. So this is, to me, a really, really good question. And I like Rafe's answer even better. So Rafe said, I really wanted the channeling to come from the women themselves and have them really believe it. So Rosamund was instrumental in building the look of it for herself, and each woman has built something out of what makes sense for her and her character, so it gives something authentic to it. The most important thing is that when you look into the actor's eyes, you know they believe they have the power of the earth itself at their fingertips, and I promise you, Rosamund does. That's pretty powerful. I like that. I like that answer. It's a really good answer. And that the fact that he gave them free reign and said, basically, this is how it works. Figure out how you want it to look for your character, makes me pretty happy, because I'm envisioning a whole bunch of them on set just flailing their arms and making faces and stuff till they get it right in the way they like it. And that's pretty funny. But if everything's just a little bit different, I think it'll make it authentic. You won't see the exact same. You won't see a dozen firebenders all in a row. Same movement to throw a fireball. I don't want to see that for the wheel time, and this makes me happy that he gave them free reign to artistically express themselves for channeling, which makes me think that if he's giving the actors and actresses this much artistic freedom in the way they're doing something very iconic, it makes me wonder what else he's giving them freedom for, which makes me really happy, because that means that it'll be more organic, it'll feel more natural, it won't be robotic, which is, in my opinion, pretty cool. All right, next question by Silly Dabbit. Is the audio disconnected from the scene of Moiraine? Now, we talked a bit about this when we did the teaser. We talked about that 2 or 3 minutes ago now. And the answer was yes. Rosamund actually recorded this audio for this teaser specifically, so you won't hear this exact audio in the show. So, like I said, I believe, and this is not based on any real information, but I'm pretty sure that this is probably a piece of the trailer. Because if they're putting something out like this out now, it looks very polished, very done. It's gone through the final stages of post. To me, it looks that way anyway. I would say they probably took a snippet out of that trailer and went, you know what, this is finished. Let's release this. Minimal effort on their part to get this thing out for Wheel of Time Wednesday, other than having Rosamund record that line. And big reaction from the fandom, and a possible big reaction from people not in the fandom because they released it on Amazon Prime's official account. So win-win as far as I'm concerned. So I do really think, especially because this is recorded specifically for the teaser, that it's most likely a piece of the trailer, and Rafe confirms we're not going to see this in the show. So there's that. Next question. Any LGBT rep in the show? Now, this is a pretty interesting question because there is a lot of LGBT rep in the books, but it's not, it's not really at the forefront. It's just part of the world, and it's normalized, and it is there. So Rafe's answer made me very happy. He said there's rep in the books and the show, which makes me super happy because it is supposed to be a version of our world, and a version of our world should include all the things that we have. And it makes me happy to show that they're going to show this, they're going to rep it in the show, and I think that's a really, really awesome thing. All right, next question. Next question is by Dr. Cubano89. Wonder if he's born in 89. What all goes into the process of deciding which clips to use for these promo clips? Now, this is a good question because here I am for the last 10 minutes going, it's from the trailer. That's why they're doing this. This one's from the trailer. And then Rafe's answer comes out as, we've got an amazing team as Amazon who do all that. Thanks, Wheel of Time on Prime. That is an I said I answer, if I ever heard one. That is a non-answer. Rafe, you didn't answer the question. You did not tell us how they decide which clips go in the show. Or in the teasers. You didn't. You just said we have people that do that and they're great. Not answering the question. Not even close. Probably wasn't allowed to answer the question. But still. There's more of these. More answers like that here. Question by TwistBoy77. That doesn't look ageless. Is this something that's being reworked? Now, we touched on this earlier, and I've been saying for a long time they're not going to do that because it's just too much money. And then Rafe says, VFX that require you to touch every frame that a character appears on screen are not great uses of money. So don't expect to see CGI faces for all Aes Sedai. So that Twilight Baby, Ian McClellan, Patrick Stewart face that looks just a little off is not going to be in the show. They're not going to do the ageless face. We talked about this earlier. It is a change. I personally don't think it's a big change. I don't think it's a big deal at all. Some people, I know some people I've talked to were very, very upset about this. Like, far more upset than I expected, which kind of blew me away. But these are also the same people I talked to that were upset about the placement of the ruby and the dagger, and how the dagger didn't look exactly as they pictured it. It wasn't curvy enough, so on and so forth. There are going to be changes. The ageless face is one of them, and I'm going to say this is probably one of the very small ones. This is probably a very small change. We're going to see much, much bigger changes to make this fit better for the screen, make it adapt a little bit better for the viewers. I really, truly believe that we're going to see big, big changes and shifts, especially since they're filming extra stuff for Logain in the first season. They're filming a bunch of extra stuff. We've seen some of the shots from Faldara that don't match up with the books. We've seen things for sure. We know that Moiraine sinks the ferry and the ferrymaster dies. He didn't die in the books. And that's probably another very small change. We don't see Min until Block 4. Most likely in the Borderlands. Another probably very small change in the grand scheme of things in the show. But there are going to be some big ones too. So I wouldn't be too upset about the ageless faces. All right, question by Jackal Jace Lazarus. Lazarus? Again, I'm mispronouncing stuff. I hope you're keeping track. When did the decision made for the something old, something new, something bored, something blue from the theme made? When maybe he meant when was, or maybe she, or maybe they meant when was the decision made. Either way, from the start, or was it, or happy accident? So, or was it a happy accident? Let's see what his answer is. Watch and find out. Oh wait, maybe that doesn't work here. Maybe it does. So I truly believe that this was not... When they do marketing campaigns like this, sometimes things work out and it's a happy accident. But for something big like Wheel of Time, big like Amazon, big like that, I am sure someone somewhere in a conference room went, you know what would be neat if we did? And 1,000 ideas are thrown on the screen. 99% of them are terrible. I mean, I work with some people who are, I call them the good idea people. And they come up with all these great ideas, or they think they're great ideas, and they're absolutely just, you sit there and you go, right? But once in a while, they come up with a real good one. And you're like, well, that is a real good one, actually. Like, you can't hit a home run if you don't swing for the fences. So I'm pretty sure that for a big company like this, they probably had a dozen brainstorming sessions to figure out how they're going to start the marketing for the fans and lead it into something for the major public. And then from here, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep going. Now, there is more to this rhyme. Something old, something new, something bored, something blue, and I don't have it in front of me. 6 pence in her shoe, I believe, is how it goes. Are we going to see some gold coins next? I don't know. But I think they probably exhausted this avenue, and now they're going to go on to the payoff, the 6 pence, the payoff. I think the next major thing will be quite possibly either the trailer, although we're a little early for that yet, because I'm talking late May, early June. So the Sixpence could be a major payoff of something else. So another character reveal, a slightly longer clip, something different, or, and here's a thought, they may start into something that'll lead up to the trailer now. We've had all these small little clips. Maybe we'll see something else. Now, I do know that Sarah Nakamura did mention something the other day where she had said, I can't wait to show you other things like Perrin and the big eyes or whatever in the comment. I believe it was on Twitter or Instagram. My social media. Social media is all mixed up. It's one of the two. She put this comment out there. And then someone was like, well, we're going to see more character reveals. Of course we are. We're going to see more. This is Moiraine. This is the titular character. This is who they are billing as the main character of the show. And Amazon has been kind of pushing that for quite some time. Rosamund Pike is the premier actress of the show right now. She's just won a Golden Globe, so she is there. She's a big deal. They are going to market the crap out of her. They really are. They're going to use her to push this show to no end. But that will work really well for the general public. I mean, the fans of the show are going to say, we want to see Matt, we want to see Perrin, we want to see Rand, we want to see, Else Grinwell, I don't know, Mistress of the Kitchens. We want to see all these people. But realistically, people who don't have a clue what the books are don't care about that stuff. They care about a couple of different things. One of them is star power and people they know, and that is part of the reason why I think they're going to use Rosamund in more marketing for the big public, and probably Daniel Henney and Alvaro Morte and Peter Franzen, bigger names that have been in other big shows that people know. They'll use those for the marketing part of this to the general public leading up to the trailer. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think the next thing we may see, and I'm going to get, this is just me spitballing and guessing, I think we're probably going to see maybe a little bit of Lan, because Daniel Henney's another really big actor. He's been on Criminal Minds and a few other things like that. And he's very, very popular. Hugely popular. So I think we're going to see the next reveal will probably be something from him. And we're going to see more of the star power being brought out and touted. Intermixed with that, we'll see other little nods to us, the fandom, things in the books that we really like or really want to see. That's my guess. All right, so let me know in the comments down below what you think. What do you think of Rafe's questions and answers? I mean, he had some very Sedai answers in here, like this one. And one last thing I want to mention about this answer is watch and find out. Oh, wait, maybe that doesn't work here. Maybe it does. Watch and find out. There's more to the rhyme. Maybe we're going to see some more. Or maybe at one point or another they'll reveal something. I do know for a fact from a source that they are filming extensively behind the scenes specials for this show, which is should not be a big surprise for anybody really, because it is a big deal. But when that all comes out, I'm pretty sure we'll see some of this stuff, some of the interviews with the cast and crew where they're going to talk about marketing and how they thought of the fandom and how they figured out all this stuff. I'm hoping anyway. And maybe if I'm really lucky, just a smidge lucky, someone will mention me. I don't think so. I really don't think so. All right, so we're getting into the next section here. We're going to talk about Rosamund Pike and Moiraine Damodred and how they fit together, who this actress is, who this character is, and how I think she's going to fit into the show a little bit differently than the books. So, in this section, spoiler warning, I am going to be talking about a particular character, Moiraine Damodred, and an actress, Rosamund Pike, in this section. So if you haven't already read Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time book, specifically Book 1, The Eye of the World, be forewarned, I will ruin parts of her character arc in that book, as well as some plot points. All right, let's get on to this part of the video. All right, so we're going to talk a bit about Moiraine Damodred right now and who she is, how her character fits in the show, and who Rosamund Pike is and how she fits into everything and, like, essentially what kind of actress she is and how she's perfect for the role, really, realistically, when you think about it. So we're going to talk about all that now. So first thing, Moiraine, who is she? Well, she's an Aes Sedai, but she's far more than that. So in the books, she is the niece of King Laman. Now, King Laman was the king of Cairhien who basically screwed up royally, no pun intended, and chopped down Evan de Sora, kind of a sapling of the Chor tree that the Aiel gave him to make a throne. Now, when he did this, he made all the Aiel really mad, like very mad, big mad, and a bunch of the clans come over the Dragon Wall, and essentially they waged war on all of the Westlands, but not because they wanted to take anything over, not because they wanted to destroy or anything like that. They really just came over because he screwed up, and they were there to have him pay for it. And that was it. They just wanted to kill him, and that was all. So she's his niece. So she has connections and is actually in line for the Sun Throne, the throne of Cairhien. So she could have been queen if she wasn't Aes Sedai and hadn't, gone to the tower, been trained as an Aes Sedai, and then immediately left right afterwards to search for the Dragon Reborn. Now, she's one of very few sisters in the White Tower who was given a task by the Amyrlin at the time to find the Dragon Reborn, because they knew he had been born, and basically find him, control him, keep him safe until the last battle, teach him, guide him, all the things they needed to do. So that is her. Now, something else interesting about her, not only is she nobility, the niece of a king, has ties to the Sun Throne, but when you meet in the first book, chapter 38-ish, somewhere in there anyway, in the Eye of the World, you get to meet the royal family of Andor. So you get to meet Morghese, her daughter Elaine, her son Gawain, her son Galad. Moiraine has ties to them. She's their aunt. Crazy. A lot of little intricacies there that all tie together that a lot of people don't pick up on the first read or second read. I mean, I read the books initially when I was very young, so I didn't pick up on much of this until I was much older, and I started perusing through Theoryland and other little fan sites and stuff like Wheeltime Mania and Dragon Mount, things like that, while I was reading the books to connect things together. And I think at one point I actually had a notebook out, and I was like, this person said this foreshadowing meant this, they're connected this way. And I'm not exactly sane when it comes to the Wheel of Time, though, so there's that. But she's their aunt, so she's nobility. She has connections to a throne. She's an Aes Sedai. She's one of the most powerful Aes Sedai ever, and she has some very specific talents. So her talents is wind dancing and healing. So she has control over the weather. She has good control over the weather, and she's a very, very strong healer, which is unusual for a blue. Now, she is blue Aja. Now, I've done another video quite some time ago, an explained video that talks about the Aes Sedai and the different Ajas, but basically the blue are involved in the world. They take up causes and they fight for them. That is their job. That is what a blue Aja does. They want to make sure that the world is a good place, and they better it by taking up causes and doing things like that. So she is blue, but takes care of the world basically by searching for the Dragon Reborn. Her whole backstory is all centered around finding the Dragon Reborn, and that is pretty much what she is. Now, when Moiraine finally gets to the Two Rivers, finds the boys and Egwene and Nynaeve, and they kind of make their little merry band and they go on their way. For most of the first book, she's the main character. She's 100%, I would say, probably one of the main characters, because she's the glue that's holding everyone together. She's the reason that they're on the road. She's the reason that they're doing the things that they're doing. So when Amazon came out and said that, basically in most of their early promotional material, said that Moiraine is the titular character, and I think that's the words they used, the main character for the show, and they build her as the main character, a lot of fans of the book series kind of scratched their heads and were like, well, I guess, but not later. Now, I didn't give you spoiler warnings for beyond the first book, but this isn't really spoiling anything. She's not really a super main character later on. She's very important, don't get me wrong, but there's not near as much time dedicated to her as the books carry on, because you have a lot of other characters. Now, Robert Jordan has 2,782 named characters. Quote me on that, because it's true. And not all of them have a whole lot of screen time or book time, I guess. Moiraine has a lot, don't get me wrong, but she does not have near as much as Perrin, Mat, Rand, Tuon, I guess, later on. When you talk about that, these are the characters you probably don't know if you haven't read beyond the first book, but a lot of characters have more book time than she does later on. So my guess is, and this is a heavy guess, is that Amazon has cast someone with pure star power. So Rosamund Pike is an amazing actress, and we're going to talk about her in a second, and her roles and different things, and why she's such a good fit for the cast of Moiraine. She's probably cost them a lot of money. I couldn't tell you exactly how much without looking it up. I did know at one time what her salary is, but it's a lot. She's probably one of the highest, if not the highest paid in the cast. And she just won a Golden Globe. So her price tag went through the roof, I'm sure. Her star power's gone through the roof. Really big deal for Amazon. But as the show progresses, we're going to start following some of the lesser-known actors and actresses that are in main character roles. They will start taking over more of the screen time. Moiraine or Rosamund will be on screen less. So it's a smart move by Amazon to pick someone, make them the main focus of the first season or two because they are such a big star, and then kind of phase them out a bit, which, I mean, realistically, you're not really phasing them out. It's what happens in the books. She has less time because the main characters come more into the forefront. So that's Moiraine. So Moiraine de Madrid, that's who we're seeing in this teaser. She's pretty badass. She's pretty cool. She's one of my favorite channelers in the series. I'm saying one. I know there's a lot of people saying no Egwene, no Nynaeve, no Swan, no. There's loads of other people that are really cool, but Moiraine is really cool. I mean, she is super badass. So how do you portray Moiraine? Like, who do you get for that? Now, from that teaser, I got the feeling, like, when I watched it, the first thing was like, it's Moiraine. Cool. You don't always get that. There have been other shows and other castings where I've looked and went, I don't know. And not because of how they look, not because of anything else. I'm just like, I don't know. It's hard to tell unless you see them in action. When I first saw Rosamund Pike cast as Moiraine, there were some people upset that she was not short enough. She didn't have the right color hair. Like, you can't dye hair. All kinds of these other things. But she portrays the confidence, the authority, the outward, respect of an Aes Sedai, and she is 100% Moiraine. And seeing that teaser, even that 3 seconds, makes me really think, wow, she is Moiraine, which is really cool. So, who's Rosamund Pike? All right, so Rosamund Pike is cool. That's the best way to put it. She's a British actress, and she's been in all kinds of stuff. So she was originally a stage actress, got her start in Romeo and Juliet, and she is a good actress. And we're talking like next level. She's a really good actress. Not only has she has star power, but she's a good actress. So she has her Golden Globe. She just recently won, which is a big deal for Amazon. I'm pretty sure. She has been nominated for an Academy Award. She's won an Emmy, and she's been in all kinds of movies. So all kinds of stuff. So her big break, I guess I should say, as far as films go, was Die Another Day, 2002, as Miranda Frost, a Bond girl. Now, I gotta check that because... Oh, I was right. Oh, I'm good. So 2002, Die Another Day, Miranda Frost, Bond girl, really good. Like, yeah, she played a Bond girl, but man, she sold it. She did a good job. From there, it was a bunch of different other movies. You're gonna, and it's a mixed bag of things too. It's not like she only did one type of role. She did a lot of dramatic roles. So you're talking Pride and Prejudice and different things like that. She did other movies that maybe weren't so great or critically acclaimed, like Doom. But Doom was a good movie. I mean, it had The Rock. It had, come on. It's a terrible movie, but it was a good movie. If that makes any sense. She was in one of the Johnny English movies, so that's like with Mr. Bean, if that makes any sense. They're really funny. I mean, if you like that kind of humor, they're really good. She did all kinds of different things. Gone Girl is another huge thing. If you haven't watched Gone Girl, go watch Gone Girl. It gives you a very good idea of how well Rosamund could play Moiraine. I mean, she is a fantastic actress. She's got some really good action. She gets some really good acting chops. So yeah, no, she is a really good actress. Now, when it was announced that she was playing Moiraine, there was some speculation in the community that, whoa, really? But who are they getting to play Rand and Perrin and Matt? And because they are realistically the main characters of the show. But Amazon started billing her as the main character. I think maybe because, like I said earlier, she is such a big star, and realistically the focus of Moiraine is on Moiraine in the first few books. So there's that. But Rosamund Pike, really great actress. And from all I've heard is that she is a treat to work with. Like, I have spoken to people who've worked with her on set on television shows and other movies, and in the Wheel of Time as well, who say she's gracious, she is inquisitive, she wants to do a very good job, she wants to be the best she can be, so she does her research. So one particular gentleman I spoke to, he was doing a TV show with her in the States, knew that she was cast as Moiraine. He was a Wheel of Time fan, and loaned her his copy of The Companion, or maybe not The Companion, the World of Wheel of Time, sorry, as well as the Eye of the World and whatnot. that's really neat because she wanted to start doing research and read for the character. Now, a lot of these actors and actresses were not fans of the book series before they got the roles. I know that for sure. I've actually spoken with some of them who said they had no idea what the books were. They knew it was a book series, but they're like, yeah, Lord of the Rings movie, I'll do it. Cool. Then they get into it and they started reading the books. And there's quite a few of them who have not read the books at all until they got the role, that are deeply involved in the books now, that love them. So the passion is there, the want and the need to give us a proper Moiraine is there. So I have no doubt in my mind that Rosamund is going to do a fantastic job. Not just a kind of a good job. I mean, a fantastic job. I think she's going to absolutely kill it on screen as Moiraine. So there's that. So we've gone through quite a bit so far. I mean, I wasn't lying when I said this was a long video. Maybe not quite an hour. Maybe I can dance for a bit. I don't know. We have some housekeeping stuff to clean up and some other things to talk about for the state of the channel, the future of the channel, some other things that are coming up soon. We're going to do that right now. But before I do, I just want to mention one more time. If you don't already have a subscription to the channel, if you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell, because I put out a couple of videos a week, and they are not always in the same day. They are not. I mean, they're whenever I have time. I'm fairly busy, and this is a hobby of mine, and I have a lot of fun doing it, but it is not my job. So they come out when they come out, but generally if there's big news, you'll see a video from me within a day or two of it, and sometimes I break news too, like my exclusive on the trailers, or the foreign language actors, or different things like that. I do get some tidbits sometimes that no one else has, so make sure you click that subscribe button. Also, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think of the video. Do you like this format? Do you like, it's one of the things I've been talking about for a little bit now, this format, the format of the video. Do you like it? Do you like how I'm kind of, a little down here, and I have my there we go, slides over there, and I talk about them and stuff. Sometimes I show full screen things. Do you like that? Do you want to see something a little bit different? I know a lot of the other channels do different things. This seems to work for me, but do you folks like it? And is there anything you want to see from me? I do have some more explained videos on the hook coming soon, so there is that. I'm going to be doing some more stuff before the show comes out, on different aspects of the first book, the second book, different aspects of Robert Jordan's world, just to showcase certain things that people will have questions about. Because when the show comes out, I mean, realistically, when we think about this, there are going to be millions of people watching the show that have no idea what the Wheel of Time is. There are going to be millions of people watching the show that are going to think, wow, Lord of the Rings clone, because that's all they know about fantasies, Lord of the Rings. Oh, they're jumping on the Witcher bandwagon. No, this was a very good book series, and there are a lot of really small nuances that really make a very rich world. So I'm going to do a few more videos that are explained videos, talking about different things. And if you haven't already watched my explained videos, I do have a full section of the channel here. Go click that section, peruse through them. I talk about the Fin, the Aes Sedai, the Water Bond, Shadow Spawn, a few different things, and more are coming. They are a little bit older videos, so they may not be as well polished as some of my videos are now, but they're still very good and full of all kinds of new information. So there's that. All right, so I want to thank you so much for sticking with me here to the very end of the video, and I do want to let you know what else is coming up here soon. So this last section is just pure housekeeping. So if you're not interested in what the channel is doing over the next few weeks or months, thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested, well, we're going to talk about that now. There are no spoilers in this section whatsoever. We're not going to talk about any of the book series or any of the show or anything else like that. We're going to strictly speak about my channel at this point, just to let you know what's coming up in the pipe. So essentially, I'm going to still cover news. So I'm going to be covering all of the leaks that come out, all of the set pictures and castings and things Wheel of Time and Prime and Amazon Prime put out about the show. I'm going to cover all of that stuff. Anything that Watt Series puts out, I'll also do a video on. And I'll also do videos on my own news too. So I have a few different contacts that are able to give me some information. I have been digging some stuff up. So I do have some new and exciting things coming up over the next coming months about the show that I hope will be very exciting for you folks as they are for me. But part and parcel of that, I'm also going to start doing some unboxing. As soon as we get official Wheel of Time merchandise, I'm going to start unboxing it. But here's my question to you folks. Do you guys make Wheel of Time merchandise? Is it something that you guys do? Do you want to be featured on the channel? I used to do something called a community section where I'd feature Wheel of Time creators. So I would do other Wheel of Time content creators on YouTube. I would do people that do art, that do all kinds of different things like that. And I want to start doing that again. But I don't have many people reaching out to me anymore because I haven't mentioned it in quite some time. So if you have, or if you make Wheel of Time related stuff, send me some things. If you send it to me, I'll feature it on the channel. I'll show it to everybody. I'll showcase your artwork. I don't have a store. I don't have a Patreon. I will gladly feature your store on Patreon for a few channels, or a few episodes rather, here and there, just to get your work and whatnot out there for people, because realistically, the more Wheel of Time content creators, whether they be audio, visual, artistic, anything like that, is better for the community. So if you folks want to be featured on the channel, let me know. There is an email in the description box of my channel. Go click that email. Send me an email off if you want to be featured on the channel, whether you write fan fiction, or you have a YouTube channel, or you have a podcast, or anything. Realistically, if you make Wheel of Time cross stitch and you want some of that featured here, send me a sample of it. I'll show it off on the channel and link how to get hold of your Etsy or however you sell it, things like that. I like doing stuff like that. I like involving the community. Please let me know. I think the more of us there are doing this, the better everything will be. So in addition to all of that, I also plan on doing deep dives into the trailer, and when the show comes out, I'll be doing multiple videos per week for the show. So I'll probably do a spoiler-free review, a spoiler review, and then we're going to do breakdowns, Easter eggs, changes, all kinds of different stuff for that. You'll see multiple videos a week coming out from me every week when the show airs. If the show's weekly, you'll see 3 or 4 videos a week from me on that particular show. If the show drops all at once, I won't shower for a long time. I'll be sitting here making videos for you folks and for me, realistically, because I do this because it's a lot of fun. I'll put them out as I make them. So there's that. All right, well, thank you so much for sticking with me here to the very end. I really do appreciate all my viewers. I appreciate everybody watching my content. Thank you so much, and here's to many more.